Ready.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, Carrie and Christine. I want to thank my late great Italian grandmother for expanding my foreign language skills. You see, whenever she would get angry at me, she'd start to raise her voice and speak in fluent Italian. So I soon became fluent in the Italian cuss words, to the horror of my parents, of course. Now, I've never seen anyone quite like my grandma. She was 4'10", but she had a set of lungs that would make my 6'2" father stand at attention. She was incontrovertible, if I got that word right. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved my grandma, but there were two sides to grandma. There was the New Jersey side. When we visited her in New Jersey, she was a sweet old grandma. And then the Michigan side, when she came to visit us in Michigan, she turned into the grouchy grandma. And before you yell at me for calling my grandma grouchy, let me put forth my case first. Now, every year as kids, we went to New Jersey every summer, took the 800-mile trip. My grandma lived near Philadelphia in Burlington, New Jersey. And it was my greatest place in the world. I loved it at my grandma's house. She would have all kinds of meals for us, pastrami, spaghetti, linguine. If it ended in an I, grandma had it. And she would take us to friends' houses to go swimming, and I learned to swim there. And she would take us to flea markets, and I'd go to baseball games with my Uncle Nick. And I just loved it. Now, grandma wasn't always 100% perfect in New Jersey, and me and my brother have a reason to blame. There were a few cracks there showing the grouchiness, but I just wanted to bring up one story in New Jersey called NJN School. Me and my brother, about 2 weeks before we went to New Jersey, had a game. It's called New Jersey Night School, and we wanted to stay awake all night. So a couple weeks before, we'd be in bed at home practicing to get out of bed very slow, because grandma's beds in New Jersey would squeak. I think she wanted to catch us getting out of bed. So we're practicing. We're going to stay awake all night. That's our goal. We got to New Jersey. The first night, I'm getting out of bed and going downstairs to the kitchen to get some food. Out of my grandma's refrigerator. Okay, I was a bad child. And I heard steps coming down the stairs, so I quick hid under the kitchen table. And it was Grandma. I swear she never slept. So Grandma went back upstairs, and I thought I'd gotten out of this. So as I was going upstairs, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning now, I felt a pull on my ear, and you never get accustomed to your ear being pulled. And it was grouchy Grandma. The one time I can remember that I made her angry in New Jersey, she said, "Get back to bed." So I went to bed and was good the rest of the trip. Now I want to tell you about the Michigan story. When Grandma came to Michigan, it seemed like she would stay for weeks at a time, and we would wish that she would leave, me and my siblings. She was good when she first got there. She brought food and we ate it, and then we all went into her bedroom. We all loved to have her hum us hymns and tell us stories, but then sometime in the middle of the night, there was a transformation where she turned into the grouchy Grandma. And we woke up about 6 a.m. She'd wake us up and say, "It's time to do the chores." You see, Grandma was born in 1912, and she grew up during the Great Depression, so she got jobs. She had a great work ethic. And what Grandma had us do was paint the fence. We'd take the windows, and we'd actually have razor blades and scrape the windows. And it was just a lot of hard work for a kid, and I was sassy. We had a list that we would keep when Grandma would yell at us, and I kind of put it up here. This is me. One of the things she would say was, "You cut that food and eat it with a fork." And to my sister, "Pick up your mess." And we'd write if they were major or minor, just things we do to keep us, I guess, sane. Now, I remember one time when Grandma yelled at me, Gregory, pick up your stuff. Your muddy boots are in the living room. You need to put things where they belong." And I said, "You belong in New Jersey." Now, Grandma couldn't hear me. She was in the other room, but my mom could hear me, and I felt a tug on my ear. And I told you I never grow accustomed to those tugs. So I felt bad about it. I realized she wasn't just grouchy Grandma. She was my mother's mother, and that kind of put things in perspective. Now, I want to tell you about 5 years ago, Grandma started to get partial Alzheimer's, and she moved to Grand Rapids to a nursing home, and it was great because I could visit her a lot. And I talked to her a lot and learned a lot of stories. She wasn't grouchy then. She was nice to me. And she passed away about 4 years ago. At the funeral, I remember I was going to play the piano. My brother and my sister gave speeches at the funeral, and I said, I should say something too. So I wrote something on a card at church, got up there, and it was easy because it was something I was passionate about, and I realized I was most of the time, Grandma was nice. It was just because I was young, I had thought she had been grouchy all those years. So I gave my speech, and that was the first time I really gave a speech besides like college classes. And I was like, that was easy because it was passionate. A couple of months later, I joined this Toastmasters club to work on my speaking skills. So I'm going to end this with a funny story. We'd always play piano lessons. We'd have them every week. And 6 days we wouldn't practice, and the 7th day we'd practice and come in and just get by. Now when Grandma came, she made us play for like 3 hours a day till our fingers were sore. And we'd come in and play like Liberace, and the piano teacher was like, and then Grandma would come pick us up, and she'd say, "Oh, your Grandma made you practice." And so every year when we'd come in at that time and we'd play like a concert pianist, the piano teacher would say, "Your Grandma's here." So the moral is that while sometimes you do have to be hard on people to get them to reach their potential, and they'll realize, I mean, we still love Grandma. I went in, slept with her in her bedroom every night she was over, and that's the moral. Just once the event is over, people will look back on you with love. Thank you very much.